get to teach you something today, and I'm very excited about it. We're going to talk about atomic structure and atoms today. If you don't already know me or how I put together my slides, I love memes and I love things that I think is funny to try to make the content more interesting. So that's how you might be able to differentiate what days I might be teaching and what days Simpson might be teaching. So starting off today's lecture, I found this little picture here about if we're made of atoms, then a scientist studying atoms is actually a group of atoms studying themselves. So have fun thinking about that for a little while. A cool thing about talking about atomic structure and this unit is atoms are the building blocks to life. So what we're going to talk about today is kind of an overview of everything, and we're going to get into some more detail tomorrow and into next week. So follow along as best you can, and if you have any questions, you're probably going to have them answered tomorrow or Monday. So starting off with your first note sheet, not the video one, the one that has the picture of the atom on it, we're going to talk about what is atomic structure. So atomic structure defined is the arrangement of subatomic particles in an atom. And again, I just mentioned that. These are the fundamental building blocks of life, atoms. These are so very, 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 very small, okay? Later on, we'll get into some actual units of measurement that we use to actually measure atoms, like nanometers and picometers. But that's later on. We're also going to watch a video to kind of put into perspective how small an atom is today. All right, so each atom has a central nucleus, which is the dense center of the atom that's containing protons and neutrons. This gives off a positive charge. We'll also talk about in a little bit about how we can know the number of neutrons in each of our elements based off the atomic number. We'll talk about that in the next few slides. And then we have electrons, which are subatomic particles that orbit, or if it helps you out, circle the nucleus. We'll talk a little bit about those on the next slide. All right, so breaking down protons, neutrons, and electrons, this is probably some sort of review to you. So our protons are subatomic particles that have a positive charge, and they are found in the nucleus of every atom. And then in parentheses here, I put a +1 charge. Again, protons are how we actually identify what our element is, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. We then have our neutrons, or as I like to think of them, neutrons is equal to being neutral. That's because these are our particles that are found in the nucleus that have no charge, okay? They're a neutral charge, no electrical charge at all, but they still do matter, so they're important. And then our electrons are negatively charged particles. These are the ones that orbit the nucleus of our atom, and then I have in parentheses that they have a negative charge. Our amount of electrons, and we'll get into this a little bit more later on, depends on the energy levels of the type of atom for that element, and there is a limit to how many electrons that we can have in each atom. Electrons have to fill these energy levels as well as certain shells, and again, we'll get more into that. And electrons aren't just free floating around the nucleus. There is an attraction that is keeping them there that we will also talk about later on, but an overview of each one. This should be some sort of review for you guys, I would assume. All right, and then just some images here to kind of put an image to what I was just talking about. So this is the one that you have on your sheet with our picture of the nucleus, which has our positively charged protons and our neutral neutrons. We also have these little green particles here that represent our electrons, and then we have our empirical or our more orbital shapes here that are depicting what an electron orbit would look like. All right, so we're gonna swap sheets now. So we have a short video. We're gonna watch it twice because he talks really fast, and we've noticed that some people are missing things. But this is a really great video to kind of put into perspective the actual size of an atom and the nucleus and all of the components. So, alrighty.